Yet some scholars have already suggested that in this instance the term lil means not a stormy wind of nature, but the wind that comes out of the mouth, an utterance, a command, a spoken communication. Once again, the archaic Sumerian pictographs for the term min, especially as applied to Enlil, and for the term lil, shed light on the subject. For what we see is a structure with a high tower of antennas rising from it, as well as a contraption that looks very much like the giant radar nets erected nowadays for capturing and emitting signals, the vast net described in the texts. In Bad Tiburon, established as an industrial center, Enlil installed his son Anar/Sin in command, the texts speak of him in the list of cities as New Gigi of the night sky. There, we believe the twins in Anu/Ishtar and U2/Shamash were born, an event marked by associating their father Anar with the next zodiacal constellation, Gemini the twins. As the god trained in rocketry, Shamash was assigned the constellation Gir, meaning both rocket and the crab's claw, or Cancer, followed by Ishtar and the lion Leo, upon whose back she was traditionally depicted. The sister of Enlil and Enki, the nurse Ninhursag Sud, was not neglected in her charge. Enlil put Shuruppak, the medical center of the Nephilim, an event marked by naming her constellation the Maid Virgo. While these centers were being established, the completion of Nibiru was followed by the construction of the spaceport of the Nephilim on Earth. The texts made clear that Nibiru was the place where the words commands were uttered there, when Enlil commanded towards heaven. That which shines forth rose like a skyrocket, but the action itself took place where Shamash rises, and that place, the Cape Kennedy of the Nephilim, was Sihar, the city in the charge of the chief of the eagles, where multi-stage rockets were raised within its special enclave, the sacred precinct. As Shamash matured to take command of the fiery rockets, and in time also to become the god of justice, he was assigned the constellations Scorpio and Libra the scales. Completing the list of the first 7 cities of the gods, and the correspondence with the 12 zodiac constellations was Larak, where Enlil put his son Ninurta in command. The city lists Kolhanpa.bil.sag Great Protectorate is the same name by which the constellation Sagittarius was called. It would be unrealistic to assume that the first 7 cities of the gods were established haphazardly. These gods, who were capable of space travel, located the first settlements in accordance with a definite plan, serving a vital need to be able to land on Earth and to leave Earth for their own planet. What was the master plan? As we searched for an answer, we asked ourselves a question: what is the origin of Earth's astronomical and astrological symbol? A circle bisected by a right-angled cross, the symbol we use to signify target. The symbol goes back to the origins of astronomy and astrology in Sumer, and is identical with the Egyptian hieroglyphic sign for place. Is this coincidence or significant evidence? Did the Nephilim land on Earth by superimposing on its image or map some kind of target? The Nephilim were strangers to Earth. As they scanned its surface from space, they must have paid special attention to the mountains and mountain ranges. These could present hazards during landings and takeoffs, but they could also serve as navigational landmarks. If the Nephilim, as they hovered over the Indian Ocean, looked toward the land between the rivers, which they had selected for their earliest colonizing efforts, one landmark stood out unchallenged: Mount Ararat. An extinct volcanic massif, Ararat dominates the Armenian plateau, where the present-day borders of Turkey, Iran, and Soviet Armenia meet. It rises on the eastern and northern sides to some 3,000 feet above sea level, and on the northwestern side to 5,000 feet. The whole massif is some 25 miles in diameter, a towering dome sticking out from the surface of Earth. Other features make it stand out not only from the horizon, but also from high in the skies. First, it is located almost midway between 2 lakes, Lake Van and Lake Savan. Second, 2 peaks rise from the high massif: Little Ararat 12,900 feet and Great Ararat 17,000 feet, well over 5 kilometers. No other mountains rival the solitary heights of the 2 peaks, which are permanently snow-covered. They are like 2 shining beacons between the 2 lakes that, in daylight, act as giant reflectors. We have reason to believe that the Nephilim selected their landing site by coordinating a north-south meridian with an unmistakable landmark and a convenient river location. North of Mesopotamia, the easily identifiable twin-peaked Ararat would have been the obvious landmark. A meridian drawn through the center of the twin-peaked Ararat bisected the Euphrates. That was the target, the site selected for the spaceport. Could one easily land and take off there? The answer was yes. The selected site lay in a plain. The mountain ranges surrounding Mesopotamia were a substantial distance away. The highest ones to the east, northeast, and north would not interfere with the space shuttle gliding in from the southeast. Was the place accessible? Could astronauts and materials be brought there without so much difficulty? Again, the answer was yes. The site could be reached overland, and via the Euphrates River, by waterborne craft. And one more crucial question: was there a nearby source of energy, of fuel for light and power? The answer was an emphatic yes. The bend in the Euphrates River, where Separ was to be established, was one of the richest known sources in antiquity of surface vitamins, petroleum products, that seeped up through natural wells, and could be collected from the surface, without any deep digging or drilling. We can imagine Enlil, surrounded by his lieutenants at the spacecraft's command post, drawing the cross within a circle on the map. What shall we call the place? He may have asked. Why not Separ? Someone might have suggested. In Near Eastern languages, the name means bird. Separ was the place where the eagles would come to nest. How would the space shuttles glide down to Separ? We can visualize one of the space navigators pointing out the best route. On the left they had the Euphrates, and the mountainous plateau west of it. On the right, the Tigris, and the Zagros range east of it. If the craft were to approach Separ at the easily set angle of 45 degrees to the Ararat meridian, its path would take it safely between these two hazardous areas. Moreover, coming inland at such an angle, it would cross in the south over the rocky tip of Arabia while at a high altitude, and start its glide over the waters of the Persian Gulf. Coming and going, the craft would have an unobstructed field of vision and of communication with mission control at Nibiru. Enlil's lieutenant would then make a rough sketch, a triangle of waters and mountains on each side, pointing like an arrow towards Separ. An X would mark Nibiru in the center. Incredible as it may seem, this sketch was not made by us. The design was drawn on a ceramic object unearthed at Susa, in a stratum dated to about 3200 BC. It brings to mind the planisphere that described the flight path and procedures, which was based on 45-degree segments. The establishment of settlements on Earth by the Nephilim was not a hit or miss effort. All the alternatives were studied, all the resources evaluated, all the hazards taken into account. Moreover, the settlement plan itself was carefully mapped out so that each site fit into the final pattern, whose purpose was to outline the landing path to Separ. No one has previously attempted to see a master plan in the scattered Sumerian settlements. But if we look at the first 7 cities ever established, we find that Bad Tiburon, Shuratak, and Nibiru lay on a line running precisely at a 45-degree angle to the Ararat meridian, and that line crossed the meridian exactly at Separ. The other 2 cities whose sites are known, Eridu and Larsa, also lay on another straight line that crossed the first line and the Ararat meridian, also at Separ. Taking our cue from the ancient sketch, which made Nibiru the center of a circle, and drawing concentric circles from Nibiru to the various cities, we find that another ancient Sumerian town, Lagash, was located exactly on one of these circles, on a line equidistant from the 45-degree line, like the Eridu-Larsa-Separ line. The location of Lagash mirrors that of Larsa, though the site of Ladatra.ak seeing the bright halo remains unknown. The logical site for it would be at point 5, since there logically was a city of the gods there, completing the string of cities on the central flight path at intervals of 6 BRU. Bad Tiburon, Shuratak, Nibiru, Larak, Separ. The 2 outside lines, flanking the central line running through Nibiru, lay 6 degrees on each side of it, acting as southwest and northeast outlines of the central flight path. A Appropriately, the name La.Tar.Sa meant seeing the red light, and La.Ag.Ash meant seeing the halo at 6. The cities along each line were indeed 6 BRU, approximately 60 kilometers.